Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Big Donch Show. Today, we have on another professional boxer. Darius Fulghum is currently undefeated with 8 wins, all by knockout. Fighting out of Houston, Texas, he is currently signed with Golden Boy Promotions and has an upcoming fight on December 2nd. Thank you, Darius, for joining me today.
Dude, I appreciate you having me on. What a great introduction, bro.
Yeah, so you have a big fight coming up on December 2nd. How are you feeling and just how has camp been?
Feeling great. Really camp started right when the last fight ended, rolled right into it. Been keeping the momentum going. Been trying to be really active this year. So, not taking much damage in my fight. So just trying to just keep the ball going. Since I'm fighting so much, really the main thing that I focus a lot on is just keep my body right. Make sure I'm not dealing with any injuries and stuff like that. Like I'm already in shape, on weight. So camp's been actually really good.
Good. So, well, when was your last fight?
Last fight was October 7th.
Oh, wow.
Which
October
is
6th.
which,
Jeez.
yeah, which is crazy is like this feels like the longest gap I've had since I've been kind of fighting like almost like every other month.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm like, man, why this is like the longest break.
Well, all
It
your
feels
wins
like
are
the
by
longest.
knockout, so your recovery time isn't, it doesn't have
Yeah.
to be as long, right? It's not like you're taking a lot of punishment. Just what's some factors that play into that, the gap in between a fight.
I mean, it just okay. Well, this one was just a perfect situation. It was in Houston, Texas, my hometown. And so like it's just ideal that this is the perfect card to be on. On a big card, Ryan's a huge name, huge star in sport. There should be a lot of attraction, a lot of attention on it. And it's in my hometown, like
Mhm.
so. I probably could have had a fight before this one, but why would I? Why would I do
Right.
that? Jeopardize it when this is the perfect card to be on.
Well, yeah, now that it's in your hometown, it's at Toyota Center, it's on Ryan Garcia's card. Pretty big stage now. How have you been preparing for a fight like on a big stage? So I know you were talking about your camp, but like
Right.
just getting ready in front of a big stage like this.
Well, I've had experience being on bigger cards before in my career. My second fight was on the Spence Ugas card,
Oh yeah.
uh, which is at the AT&T Stadium, which is freaking humongous. It's one of the
Mhm.
biggest stadiums I think in the country. Um, so I've had experience being on bigger stages already. I don't feel like this would be really anything new for me. Well, I guess the new experience is in my hometown, right?
Right.
At the time for a lot of people, there's a little added pressure in that, but not necessarily for me. I don't feel any pressure in the moment. I'm just doing what I
Mhm.
love to do, right?
So let me reward that then. So yeah, you've been here before, but just before the Spencer Ugas fight, just the big stage in general, and performing in front of all these people. How do you like stay composed with that? Just obviously though, just going back to your first
Right,
time.
right. Okay, well, that's an easy question to answer because that's something I had to deal with going into like fights like that.
Mhm.
Really, the mindset that I had going into it, and I always got to remember is that I belong here. Like I deserve to be here. I put in a lot of work, sacrificed a lot to get to these points in my life, in my career, and I gotta always remember like this is where I'm supposed to be, and I earned it. And so big thing is to not shy away from the big moments because that's what I'm built for. That's what I train for. That's what I work my ass off for, right?
Right.
And so to my whole mindset is never forget that this is where I'm supposed to be.
So just explain like what a normal day in camp's like for you. How many times are you training a day? How many times are you sparring throughout the week? And what's your conditioning like?
Okay, well, so what I always will say that I don't know if it's necessarily different for me than how other people train. I've been around a lot of training camps, seeing how a lot of guys train, but my main thing is I always listen to my body, right? So, I'm always going to call little audibles, depending on how my body is feeling. But typically, I'm sparring three times a week, and I usually train twice a day, 6 days out of the week. And then sometimes the intensity of it would change. Really, the training stay the same, but depending on how the body's feeling, it may be an active recovery day, right? Though those kind of days aren't like programmed. Okay, we're gonna do that on a Thursday, or that we'll do that day on Tuesday. Like those days come when they need to come, right?
Right.
And so, I was the same normal as everybody else is doing road work. So it's crazy is when you look at these top elite athletes, sometimes we think they're doing like you know, something completely different. But a lot of guys have followed the same routine. But the big thing and part of my camp is really actually learning, which I feel like a lot of fighters don't really do.
Good, yeah, and that's definitely something to pick note as you're young, right? You want to learn all the mistakes while you're young now, so later
Man,
down in the
absolutely.
career, no mistakes.
Hey, look, absolutely. But I think just the IQ being having a high IQ is what separates me from a lot of other boxers. Really just trying to stay smart in the ring.
You mentioned earlier, I'm pretty sure that you said cutting weight's not a problem for you. You said, all
No,
right. So
no,
just expand on that. What are you doing to just make weight every time? Do you walk around at like a healthy weight?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I've always been like this from the amateur days. Like when I was in the amateurs, I fought up a weight class, at the time because I know how detrimental cutting weight can be to your performance. It's a lot of stress that comes with that. Like having a fight is stressful in and of itself. And you hear a lot of fighters that make this statement like after they weigh in, oh, the hard part's over. Like that shouldn't have to be the hard part. And then, like I said, you lose a lot of yourself from doing that. So I really just take pride on making sure that I get down on weight early, where I'm not doing no crazy cuts. I don't got to cut 15 pounds the day before.
Mhm.
What you hear some guys doing, like that's ridiculous. So and my thing is I'm a big foodie. Like I love to eat, bro. Like that's
Mhm.
my thing. So me cutting back a little bit is me cutting back a lot. And so long story short, I just go ahead and get down way ahead of time.
Yeah, I agree with the stress part. I had my first bout about 3 weeks ago. I was actually underweight, but I was okay with that because I've been used to sparring with guys like my
Yeah.
weight, and because the whole thing was I was actually cutting weight for a while, thinking I'd get a fight at a lower weight. I couldn't
Right.
find nothing, so we got something at 190. So I was like, or 180. So I was like 4 pounds under. So I was
Right.
like, yeah, it's whatever. So I was eating a lot on weigh-in day before while other guys
Right.
are trying to cut.
Look,
But
and you feel amazing,
right,
bro. Like you feel good about yourself, right?
yeah,
Rather than people are depleting themselves of all their
yeah,
nutrients and it's like, no. Sometimes it's like, oh, we got an extra day to rehydrate. Man, no. Look,
yeah.
there's a lot that go into it, and it's not worth putting your body through that.
Mhm.
Like I said, I learned that on just performance wise, especially in the amateurs. Like I going like a week like that, for the big tournaments,
Mhm.
you have to do that every single day.
Yeah,
It's like you're starving yourself, dehydrating yourself. You weigh in, you fight. Then you got to go right after the fight and do it again. Then you weigh in the next day. Then you got to do it the next day again.
yeah.
It's too much. It's
Takes
too
a big
much.
toll on your body.
It's too
So
much. And we're professionals. We got to be
right.
disciplined. So it's it, people missing weight is one of the most like unprofessional things somebody can do in this sport, right? It's almost like disrespectful. It's like, bro, you don't take this seriously.
So tell me a little bit about just your journey into becoming a professional boxer. Seems like you had a pretty good decorated amateur career. What made just what got you into boxing, and then what were some of the factors when you decided to turn professional?
Oh, so I mean, kind of what got me into boxing. I was wrestling beforehand, and I was going to actually go into MMA, but this back in high school. I said I need to learn how to box, and I started boxing. And I fell in love with it immediately. I was like, "This is it. This is what I'm gonna do." Now, mind you, I said that, and I was not good. Like I wasn't good at all. Like I've never been a fighter growing up. It's not never been my thing. But when I made the decision, I had to learn quickly. And I really believe at that time I could do anything I set my mind to. And once I made the decision of doing boxing to become a world champ, well, I like was on the fast track. Like any typical person, I'm watching YouTube videos,
Yep.
how to throw a jab, how to proper footwork technique or drills, right? And I was trying to fight a lot, like every weekend. I was trying to fight. And I was winning, and I just kept winning. I kept winning, and went to National Golden Gloves, won there. Went to Olympic trials, won there. Um, my whole goal was the Olympics. I wasn't going to go pro until I graduated college, and then the plan was to go to the Olympics. So I was on track to go to the Olympics, but COVID kind of interfered with that. And once my Olympic journey was over with, I was the perfect time to really transition to the pros.
Yeah. So speaking of like college, a main reason why I wanted to reach out because I'm a college student myself doing amateur
Oh, nice.
boxing. So I saw that you have your nursing degree. I thought that was pretty cool. What made you want to go just into nursing, pursue something like that, and things like that?
Actually, because it's kind of weird. My dad kind of got me into it when I was younger. He kind of was mentioning to me about how great a career field it was, and and that they needed more male nurses. And so as long as I remember, it was always something I wanted to do. And I was like a chunky kid growing up, and once I got serious about sports and wrestling and boxing, I got real big into health and fitness, and that's what kind of really got me into studying more on the human body, and trying to learn more about it. And that's what kind of really drove me into doing nursing. But as far as I remember, I was what I was always going to do, right?
Mhm.
And so I made it my point to finish that and stick through it. That was always my number one priority above anything was getting my degree.
And that's definitely cool, like seeing boxers in college, because that's why I just think it's cool. We don't see that enough, right? That's why I'm trying to reach out to more guys. It's boxing has more of that blue collar attitude towards it. You never think people go into boxing because that's all they know. You know what I mean? Like why would somebody go into boxing, get their face punched in if they have a degree? It's just things that you love. So that's why I'm saying it's definitely cool to see you doing that and just other guys who are in college boxing.
It's a big thing, and sometimes people will try to make it seem like, oh, like the person that really needs boxing, that's all they've known, that makes their like drive and motivation stronger than mine's. But I don't necessarily think so. Um, it's a lot of pressure that comes when you need something, and some people can fold under that pressure. Um, Ultimately, like my whole big thing is I don't need this at all. Like I am strictly doing this because I love this. I've been through a lot of sacrifice, been a lot of hardship that I did not have to go through. You think, why would I put myself through that? It's because I really want it that bad, you know? Um, and you're right though. Like my background and my story is a lot different than the stereotypical story that you would hear, right?
Mhm.
And I don't want to be that. Like I've been around the world, met so many different boxers, so many different walks of life. Boxing really changed my life, but opened me up that like there is no like people. Some people can have an idea what they think a boxer is. There's no way you can have an idea what a boxer is or who a boxer is. There's so many different people, so many different stories, so many backgrounds, so many different upbringings, so many different personalities. There's no way you can just classify a boxer as being kind of like one type of person, but
Right.
those are the mainstream stories that we hear all the time.
So a couple more questions just before a fight. I asked this to everybody on here. Just how do you deal with the pre-fight anxiety that you have in the locker room and just the nerves coming into the fight?
Well, a couple main things that I'm really big on. First thing is my confidence comes from my preparation, right? Like, like I remember having like going through the amateurs, I had a lot of fears, a lot of doubts in my head that I had to get over. And how I got over those was through my training. Like, oh man, what if I get tired? Or oh man, what if this? What if that? So many negative thoughts. But all my hard work before the fight prepared me for that. Where it's like I have no doubt in my mind I'm in the best shape of my life. So that helps me get over a lot of those fears. But main thing is, I always say this: a fight is stressful in and of itself. I get really big on eliminating stress right before my fight. And that comes with anything, when you think about people stressing about bills or stressing about relationships or stuff going on at work or, stuff outside of the ring. I don't think people really understand how much that goes into play when you actually are fighting. Like I'm telling you, people, because they're on the forefront of your mind, but while you're in the fight, you're thinking about all the stuff that's stressing you out. It's hard to be present in the moment when you're in the ring, when you got a lot of stuff stressing you out beforehand. And so eliminating a lot of that stress helps me come into the fight with a clear mind. It makes me feel a lot more at peace and comfortable with everything going on.
Good. So there's the last question I have for you today is just what are your future goals with the sport of boxing? Obviously, you want to win titles, you want to keep winning, but like, when you're all said and done, when you're retired, whenever that is, and you look back at your career, what do you want to have accomplished and said you did in the sport?
Ultimately, my main goal is not something as simple as just winning a world title. That there's a lot of people that won world titles that are forgettable, and my main thing is I want to be generational. I want to I want to accomplish so much in this sport that again my name can be talked about in future years to come, future generations in a whole different era. Like you got the Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, those those names are never going to die. Like they're always going to be etched into this sport. And so my main thing is always thinking of ways on how can I etch my name into the sport to be generational. And so that is my goal.
Good. So, well, I just want to say thank you, of course, for taking the time to do this with me today. I wish you the best of luck on
No,
December
thanks, bro.
2nd. So I'll definitely be watching, and I'll make sure anybody watching this, make sure to check out Darius's Instagram. I'll have that tagged in the description. So make sure everyone check into Darius's fight as well. I'm out, guys. Peace.
My God. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you.